Well, y'all, Nicki Minaj is back on X, and she's coming for Jay-Z. So in a series of tweets, Nicki Minaj is claiming that Jay-Z owes her $100 to $200 million so far.
It began with a confession no one expected to hear, the kind that redraws the map of power in hip-hop. When Nicki Minaj spoke about Jay-Z, she wasn't talking about a business disagreement or a creative clash. She claimed something deeper, something personal, saying that years ago he had tried to turn a private friendship into something physical, and when she refused, her life and career began to crumble under a silent war. We've all seen public feuds in this industry, but this one carries a different chill. Because if what she's saying is even partly true, the consequences stretch far beyond two artists. They strike at the center of how influence is used behind closed doors.
So she feels like blogs and online platforms don't touch what she's saying, and they don't cover all of her words fully because it's Jay-Z and Roc Nation.
Well, I'll tell you this, I have no idea about their business, but if someone owed me $200 million, then I would be in court, not on X, and I guarantee you if she ever took that to court, that would be a huge story.
The timeline is what makes it impossible to ignore. In early 2021, Jay-Z finalized the sale of Tidal for more than $300 million. At the launch back in 2015, Nicki was among the original artists promised equity, a 3% stake meant to give musicians ownership. But when the payout came, she says she saw nothing. Not a red penny, she wrote later, pointing out that she promoted the service harder than anyone except Beyonce. Industry accountants confirmed that some founding artists received millions from that sale. Nicki's name was missing from every list. The claim might have sounded like another celebrity grievance, if not for what came next. By March 2024, a default judgment was entered against Nicki and her husband Kenneth Petty for $500,000 after a security guard in Germany claimed Petty struck him backstage. A month later, the man's lawyers filed papers to seize Nicki's Hidden Hills mansion, a $20 million property she had purchased less than 2 years earlier. LA sheriffs confirmed the levy in September. The timing raised eyebrows across the business. Just weeks earlier, Nicki had begun calling out Jay-Z by name over the Tidal dispute. Suddenly, her home was under legal siege, her public image dragged into tabloid mud, and a wave of negative coverage erupted from outlets tied to companies aligned with Roc Nation. Coincidence or coordination? Insiders whisper that Jay-Z's camp wanted to remind her who runs the table.
Apparently, Nicki Minaj has dragged Jay-Z to filth. She blasts him for being evil and spiteful.
Nicki herself appeared to think so. On October 15, 2025, she posted that she was canceling her upcoming album, writing directly to Jay-Z, "Hope you're happy now." That message detonated online. Within hours, fans discovered that her Instagram had vanished, then reappeared days later after she uploaded an AI image of Jay-Z in a bright pink wig with a caption reading, "I am your karma." To her followers, it was a digital middle finger. To critics, a meltdown. But to those who have followed her career closely, it read like a warning, an artist saying she'd rather burn the machine than let it keep grinding her down. The machine pushed back immediately. Charlamagne Tha God, a longtime Jay-Z ally through iHeartRadio, devoted a full segment of The Breakfast Club to labeling Nicki Donkey of the Day. His words hit hard. "Your energy is just stank and nasty," he said on air, adding that her public rants were a cry for help from a wounded ego. It sounded less like commentary and more like a scripted diagnosis. Within minutes, clips circulated across major platforms, amplifying the idea that Nicki had lost control. What most people missed was how perfectly timed that takedown was. It arrived just 48 hours after she accused Jay-Z's inner circle of blocking her radio interviews. Former network employees have since claimed off record that the segment was cleared directly through iHeart's upper management, a chain that runs back to executives with ongoing business ties to Roc Nation.
Y'all really do not understand who I really am. Bring it, let's play. Y'all wanted attention, let's do it. Then she starts talking to the LAPD about something we have nothing to do with. And she's saying to Republic Records that they need to stand up for her any day now. Then she says, "You'll regret it." Now, I've been going down the rabbit hole.
Here? Why did this happen?
Then came the home invasion calls. 4 separate swatting incidents, each bringing armed officers to Nicki's property while her toddler was inside. The LAPD has confirmed the reports but not identified any suspects. Nicki publicly demanded that authorities trace the calls, alleging they were intimidation tactics meant to scare her into silence. She tagged both Republic Records and Jay-Z's associates in those posts, insisting that she had evidence of inside coordination. No one from Roc Nation commented, but the attacks stopped as suddenly as they started. The message was delivered either way. She could be reached, even in her own home.
Nicki Minaj, she went on another Twitter rant, and she still got Jay-Z and Roc Nation in every tweet. She be wilding on them. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't never seen nobody come at Jay-Z this hard.
I'm like,
When we trace the pattern, it looks less like chaos and more like a campaign of isolation. First came the financial squeeze, the missing Tidal money, the legal levies, the sudden debt headlines. Then came the public humiliation, Charlamagne's monologue, Stephen A. Smith questioning her gratitude toward Jay-Z, coordinated talking points across media. And finally, the psychological pressure, disappearing social accounts, AI mockery, and those late-night police raids. Each event by itself could be dismissed, but together they form a sequence too sharp to ignore. As one former label executive told us, when a woman in this business refuses the wrong man, they don't just cancel her, they erase her.
Over and people, you know what I'm saying?
Kendrick Lamar is the hottest out right
He is,
now.
though. Kendrick hot.
They're going to make their money.
What makes the situation even darker is how quickly other industry figures fell into line. Gucci Mane's wife, Keishia Kawir, appeared on The Breakfast Club praising her husband's recovery and mental health. Within hours, Nicki accused her of being there to keep Gucci sedated, a phrase that sounded paranoid until she followed it by naming Charlamagne again, calling him Jay-Z's friend and business associate using iHeartRadio for disgusting ploys against innocent families. It read like the map of a power web, the same radio networks, the same personalities, the same timing. Whether you believe her or not, the consistency is hard to dismiss. Meanwhile, Jay-Z maintained public silence. Not a single direct response, not even through Roc Nation's public relations team. Instead, surrogates filled the space. Journalists framing Nicki's behavior as erratic, pundits painting her as self-destructive. When she questioned why Lil Wayne had been denied the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show, accusing Jay-Z of letting ego punish greatness, she was mocked for inserting herself into other people's fights. But behind that outburst sat an old wound: loyalty. Wayne was the mentor who first signed her. Seeing him snubbed in his own city looked to her like the same quiet revenge she'd been warning about. By late October, the escalation reached a breaking point. Her mansion remained under threat of forced sale, the court filings piling up just as she was preparing to relaunch her brand under the Billionaire Barbie slogan. Then, as if on cue, news stories surfaced about her husband's probation and past convictions, recirculated across every major entertainment site within hours. None of the outlets offered new information. They simply resurrected old details under fresh headlines. Media analysts we spoke with described it as a refresh cycle, a common tactic to bury current news under recycled controversy. And at the top of that cycle sat names tied again to Roc Nation's content network.
So tell me about your relationship with Beyonce, because she's on a track here.
You know, everybody asks me that.
All of it loops back to the same chilling question. If Nicki's claims are accurate, that a private rejection led to a professional vendetta, what else might be hidden beneath the surface of hip-hop's biggest empire? She has hinted that lawyers, broadcasters, and even law enforcement have been drawn into the orbit of influence protecting one man's reputation. We're not saying it's proven, but the evidence, the timing, and the silence all speak louder than denials ever could. Because if Jay-Z could allegedly mobilize legal teams, radio personalities, and police operations to punish a woman for saying no, then we have to ask, who else has been silenced, and who's next? And yet, beneath that question lies another, far more dangerous one. What Nicki revealed next wasn't just about revenge. It pointed to a network so powerful, even Beyoncé might be caught in the middle. The $500,000 judgment against Nicki Minaj was never just about a courtroom formality. It landed like a financial guillotine, cutting through her leverage at the exact moment she was trying to rebuild control over her brand. The creditor, Thomas Weidenmuller, claimed unpaid damages from a 2019 security guard incident overseas. But what made it haunting was how efficiently the case moved once Nicki started calling out Jay-Z. Within months of her social media outbursts, a levy appeared on her $20 million Hidden Hills mansion. To the average fan, it looked like another celebrity facing legal trouble. To those following the pattern, it looked like pressure, a warning to anyone who dared to cross one of the most powerful networks in entertainment. The seizure notice was more than paperwork. It was a message about control, stability, and obedience.
I hope it's worth losing everything, including your account, because Nicki Minaj has been on X saying that the blogs and online creators don't cover her and Jay-Z's back and forth the same way as they do everything else.
Well, it's not a back and forth.
It's definitely not a back and forth. I was about to, it's just been a forth.
That same pattern traces straight back to Tidal, the streaming company Jay-Z sold in 2021 for roughly $302 million. Nicki has insisted for years that her stake, valued between $100 and $200 million, vanished without explanation. On paper, every founding artist was meant to receive equity and future payouts. Yet insiders recall that her name was suddenly left off the closing documents. Was that just business or punishment for saying no? The absence of answers feels louder than any denial. When she demanded transparency, the silence from Roc Nation and Block Inc. stretched into years, and just when she reignited the topic online this autumn, her legal troubles flared again. To those watching closely, it felt like two fronts of the same war, financial retaliation dressed as coincidence.
Yeah, so
What that got to do with Sister Minaj?
because there's a lot of fans online having a conversation right now following our interview if whether or not Kenneth, who's Nicki Minaj's husband, should be doing the same for Nicki Minaj, because
Absolutely.
she's online and there's a lot of things that she's saying and
But that
different things
wasn't
that are
the reason
happening.
she shot at Charlamagne, was it?
No, forget me. Why did she come at Keisha? I don't understand. Like, what did anything Keisha have to say?
Behind the corporate walls, another name keeps surfacing: Desiree Perez, the chief executive at Roc Nation, whose pardon by a former president once made headlines. Sources familiar with label negotiations claim Perez was the one urging major platforms to minimize risk around Nicki, quietly discouraging collaborations and appearances. Republic Records, Nicki's label home, has allegedly been split down the middle. Executives sympathetic to her side warned that internal audits began soon after she went public about the Tidal money. Around that time came the mysterious swatting calls that brought armed officers to her home 4 separate times. We can't prove a direct link, but the pattern of intimidation is chilling. Financial audits, police visits, disappearing media accounts, all tactics that erode credibility before a person even speaks. Then came the private leaks. Screenshots of text messages between Nicki's team and industry fixers began circulating on blogs known for Roc Nation exclusives. Some of the messages painted her as erratic, others suggested she owed unpaid advances. None of them were verified, but the optics were enough to stain her. A former road manager told us bluntly, "It's not about truth, it's about exhaustion. They make you too tired to keep fighting." For Nicki, each new headline seemed to confirm that exhaustion was the goal. Every public dispute, every tweet storm became evidence for those who wanted her silenced.
She is, I mean, just her name alone just defines greatness, right? You know, like just her.
Amid the chaos, one name remained untouched: Beyonce. Nicki's cryptic remark that Beyonce knew set off a chain reaction of speculation. If Jay-Z really did make an advance toward Nicki years ago, what did Beyonce know and when? Her silence since the revelations has spoken volumes. Publicly, she's remained the picture of composure. Privately, insiders say her team has been scrambling to contain fallout, contacting radio programmers, producers, and stylists to steer clear of the topic. According to one longtime associate, they can't afford for this to look like betrayal inside the royal family of music. If Nicki's claim holds weight, Beyoncé's quiet isn't just discretion, it's survival. The stakes reach far beyond gossip. For years, Jay-Z and Beyoncé have been treated as an untouchable unit, a couple who turned fame into corporate power. If Nicki's account exposes fractures in that empire, it threatens the mythology itself. Multiple publicists have hinted that non-disclosure agreements were issued to keep former Roc Nation contractors silent about any private disputes involving female artists. The word around several studios is that legal teams have been reviewing old contracts to ensure loyalty clauses are airtight. No one wants to be the next headline. It feels less like reputation management and more like a containment strategy.
I feel like I am absorbing advice from her and learning from her and stuff. And she'll tell me learn from my mistake.
Meanwhile, Nicki keeps using social media as her last weapon. After posting that eerie AI image of Jay-Z in a pink wig captioned "I am your karma," she followed with a string of posts accusing the music establishment of blocking her from interviews and festivals. She's dared her label to stand up for her, hinted at evidence she's saving for court, and warned that the same business managers who stole from me are still working for them. Whether these claims lead anywhere legal remains uncertain, but they've turned her into something bigger than an artist in conflict. She's become a symbol of what happens when an insider refuses to obey unspoken rules. Behind the curtain, fear is spreading. Smaller artists whisper about strange cancellations after praising Nicki online. Podcasters receive quiet calls from advertisers reminding them which topics are off limits. And somewhere in the middle of it all, Beyoncé's team reportedly keeps a list of outlets to monitor for emerging narratives. It's the kind of coordination that only happens when an empire feels a tremor under its feet. The more Nicki speaks, the tighter the silence grows around her. The psychological layer of this story is the most unsettling part. Every time Nicki lashes out online, every rant, every sudden deletion, every cryptic image, it's treated as entertainment. But behind the chaos sits a pattern too consistent to ignore. We can see how each outburst is followed by a media storm, then by an official setback, a lawsuit, a cancellation, a hit to her reputation. It's as if the system expects her to crack, and when she finally does, it uses that reaction as proof that she's unstable. What looks like a breakdown might really be the visible scar of prolonged isolation and manipulation.
The National Football League announced that West Coast rapper Kendrick Lamar will headline the Super Bowl 59 halftime show in New Orleans.
Inside the industry, whispers have grown louder about the way her volatility is being weaponized. Executives who once courted her now point to unpredictability clauses. Insurance providers flag her as a liability, and even publicists who defended her quietly step away. The narrative of madness becomes a tool, a convenient reason to dismiss her accusations and frame her pain as hysteria. It's a playbook we've seen before, where a powerful woman's emotional exhaustion is reframed as proof of her guilt. And the cruel irony is that the more she fights back, the more that image sticks. If Nicki's version of events is even partly true, then this isn't about one celebrity's unraveling. It's about a business that conditions loyalty through fear and dismantles those who resist it. The whispers, the headlines, the online ridicule, they form a kind of soft censorship, one that makes defiance look like self-destruction. The scariest part? If Nicki Minaj can be erased this easily, imagine what they'd do to someone with less power. Because when we strip away the celebrity gloss, this story isn't only about revenge, it's about power, ownership, and control. Nicki Minaj may be fighting to keep her home, her money, and her name. But what she's really fighting for is the right to exist outside the system that made her. If she's telling the truth, then we're watching the most calculated retaliation in modern music history, a machine built to punish dissent and erase the evidence after. And that leaves us with the question no one dares to answer. If this could happen to Nicki Minaj, with her millions, her fan base, and her global reach, what chance does anyone else have? Could the same forces already be working behind the scenes against others we've never even noticed? Let us know what you think in the comments, because this story is far from over. Until next time, stay curious, stay watching, and remember, in this world of quiet power, truth is the one thing they can't fully control.